Welcome to the YouTube Sports Network. I am your host. Today we're going to talk briefly about Shedeur Sanders. The reason I want to talk about him, well, he's been on my mind for a couple days. No homo, but I was watching the Browns and Titans game from the other day, Week 14, and I just had to get on here and talk about it because there's talk about his future and if he's going to be a future quarterback in the NFL and can he play in the NFL. And I'm watching that game and I'm thinking to myself, he was making some throws. He was making some plays. He had like eyes in the back of his head. He was sensing and getting out of pressure where I don't know how he did it. And he was just making throws, making plays, wasn't making mistakes, and just played good football. I mean, he completed 54.8% of his passes, 55%, which is not ideal, clearly. I mean, you want it to be mid-60s at least, or low to mid-60s. But he threw for 364 yards, so he was making big plays. Now, I'll take a guy who throws 55% of his passes, but will throw for 364 yards and throws 3 touchdowns, and he runs for a touchdown. He threw 1 interception, sure, but 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, 364 yards, I'll take it. Now, and he took 2 sacks, so it wasn't like he was getting sacked either, holding on to the ball and just, turning the ball over or taking a sack. He was playing fine. He was playing really well. Now, I didn't understand. I haven't watched a lot of Shedeur play. In college, I didn't watch a lot of him play. But he seemed like a guy that has poise. And yes, he's confident. His father is Deion Sanders. His father is a Hall of Famer. He is the bloodline of Deion Sanders, one of the most recognizable, identifiable players in NFL history. A Hall of Fame cornerback. Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers, Atlanta Falcons, Atlanta Braves, baseball player. So, people like to talk about bloodlines and like to talk about DNA, that type of stuff. And if it matters, and it certainly does, and his father being who he is, we don't think that Sanders is going to be a successful player or have a career in the NFL. The NFL doesn't want Deion Sanders' son in the league. I mean, alone, the publicity, the attention, isn't that what it's all about for these guys? Or for the NFL? The attention and the publicity? And you have a guy like Sanders who's in your grasp and is available and there and ready to play and is playing, and there's a chance that he might, and people are doubting that if he's an NFL quarterback or not. I mean, I'm not saying give it to the guy because of his name, and it doesn't mean based off his name that he's going to be good, because Michael Jordan has a son who played basketball and he's not in the NBA. Jerry Rice has a son who played football, and I'm not sure. I think he's on a practice squad somewhere. I think he was a 7th round pick by the Chargers. I see talent there for sure. I think he went to USC. But what I'm saying is he's not in the NFL in this current day. So it's no guarantee is what I'm saying. But when you have a track record, or you've established a track record like he has in his time in college, and he put up numbers in college, very impressive numbers in college, we're not going to think that this kid has a future in the NFL, especially when he's doing certain things, and he played the game against the Titans and played well and put up good numbers. There's no future for this kid? I'm confused. Now, it's very easy. Remember, you can't be of certain demographics and be confident. I think that's been established. I didn't make it up. I'm just observing what I see. Not confidence you have to tread lightly with it. Some guys are allowed to share it more than others. Now, I don't watch a lot of what goes on behind the scenes or what he does social media wise, because he makes a lot of money, to my knowledge, outside of the game of football by his social media team or whatever he decides to do outside of the game. This is the new athlete, guys. The blending sports and media and making it one. Now there's no separation of the two. Now it all seems to be one, and this is probably one of the most prime Prime time. Prime examples of such a phenomenon. And here he is, right? Now I want to get into his numbers in college briefly, okay? 2021, Jackson State, he's a freshman. They went 9-3. He threw for 30 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. He took 35 sacks. The next year, they finished first in the SWAC. That's the conference that they play in, Jackson State. 2022, they went 12-1. They finished number 1 again in the SWAC. He threw for 40 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, and he took 23 sacks. So he improved on that number, the sacks, and the touchdown passes, and he threw less interceptions. So 2 seasons in Jackson State, they finished first in the conference both seasons. He threw for 70 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. So 70 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. First place finishes in both seasons. Okay, the level of competition is the greatest because there are programs out there and other conferences out there that rank higher on the list. Okay, no problem. Now he segues that into those seasons into a 2-year stint in Colorado, the University of Colorado, who famously had the running back named Chris Brown. He was 6'3", I think he was about 6'3", and like 230 pounds. A running back named Chris Brown, drafted by the Titans a good amount of time ago. Not too long ago, but I remember that name. Chris Brown from the University of Colorado, running back, like 6'3". And I'm thinking, Chris Brown. Wow, there's a performer named Chris Brown, an artist, a singer, whatever. And then you have Chris Brown, a football player. I love when there's names there's like Michael Jordans out there. There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of Will Smiths out there, right? It's interesting. Anyway, that's where my brain goes. So now he's in Colorado, and what does he do? The competition has increased. Pac-12 now. We know the Pac-12, right? I think. I'm not a big college guy. Pac-12. Is that where like UCLA and all those teams? Could be wrong. Anyway, that conference had that season in 2023, 9 top 20 teams, including, I think, early in the season, Colorado was a top 20 team. They wound up finishing the season 4-8, but Sanders had 69% of his passes completed, 3,230 yards, 27 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The competition increased, and he still put up solid numbers, okay? The team didn't win a lot of games, but individually speaking, he did fine. The very next season, 2024, they changed conferences. They go to the Big 12 now. Once again, though, top 20 teams. They had 9 in that conference, and the Colorado was a top 20 team at that point as well. And they went 9-4 on the season, so they improved. And Shedeur Sanders led the nation with 74% completion percentage. He was 4th in yards with 4,134. He was 2nd in the NCAA with 37 touchdown passes, behind Cam Ward, who had 39, and who just went up against Shedeur Sanders and Titans in last week with the Titans and Browns game. And also he threw 10 interceptions. So 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And he led his conference with a 168.2 QB rating. So you mark it all down. He went 13-12 in Colorado, and he had 64 touchdowns and 13 picks. If you tally it all up all together, he had 134, because I want to write this down, 134 touchdowns compared to 27 interceptions in his career. That's what Shedeur Sanders did in his college career. This is his college career, okay? That is his numbers. Those are his numbers in his college career. 134, 27 interceptions. Shedeur Sanders, college career. Now, that alone, we look at numbers, don't we? Aren't numbers important? Stats are facts, facts are stats, and we talk about that. That's a hell of a ratio. Okay, so bloodline, stats. What about watching him? He completed 54.8% of his passes against the Titans. Okay, not very good. But he threw for 364 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 1 interception, okay? And he had a rushing touchdown. The Browns went 3 for 3 in the red zone that game. When's the last time the Browns went 3 for 3 in the red zone? I don't know. But what I'm saying is the numbers were there. And he made plays. And he showed this elusiveness, this sixth sense, this presence in the pocket that he was able to avoid and sense pressure coming his way. Okay? This is a guy that doesn't turn the ball over. Very little. Doesn't take many sacks. Doesn't turn the ball over much. He's legitimately a playmaker. I watched the game and I'm looking at him. He makes great throws. He has a good arm. I want to see him stand in the pocket and literally see how far he can throw the ball. Because I know this kid can throw the ball at least 65 yards. Good arm, makes plays, does not turn the ball over, and is going to be a leader in the NFL. This kid has a future in the NFL, without question. I don't know what these people are talking about. It's only because they don't want it to happen. You know, there are certain people, certain demographics, but you just can't be confident. You're going to come with a lot of attention. People are going to want to shoot you down, not physically, verbally. There's people out there, unfortunately, that don't want others to succeed. And a lot of the time it's just because that person is confident in their abilities. Now, I'm not a huge fan of boasting and overly or when you border the line of being conceited. I'm not saying he is. I don't know much about him. I'm not a fan of being conceited and arrogant. But being confident, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize it's okay. It's okay to be confident in yourself, depending how you operate, right? You gotta be graceful about it. But he can also be, it's the new age, baby. It's the new athlete, right? We're blending the two worlds, right? And this is what you get. And this kid has a lot of talent. And they lost the game 31-29, and there was some heat. The coach was saying about how or the people are speculating that coach doesn't like him. And that he doesn't like him because he didn't put him up in the last play to convert the two-point conversion. They actually tried to convert the two-point conversion on a drive prior to that when they scored a touchdown. And Shedeur Sanders dropped the fumble. I don't know what happened, but the ball dropped the ball and became a fumble. And very oddly, Cedric Gray, the linebacker, picked it up, number 33 for the Titans, picked it up, had an opportunity to run the ball all the way back for 2 points on their end, but he slowed up running. That was fishy. Slowed up running, allowing the guys to tackle him. It wasn't like an opportunity where like you're winning late in the game and the running back stops before reaching the end zone and sits in and falls in play, in bounds, so the clock can keep running. I mean, there's always fishy stuff. I never understood that. Instead of putting them away, you want to run the clock. Okay, that I didn't understand. That was fishy. And I must say, it was one of the most real, besides that, it was one of the most like real football games I've seen all season. Like real effort was being given. Because a lot of times now I feel like there's an odd display of, like it feels like things are choreographed. Things are moving at a different speed. They're like hesitating. They're thinking too much. They're not playing instinctually. Things are just, I feel like there's something in these guys' brains where they're hesitating. They're like almost like being told. They're like battling or thinking too much of what they have to do. It feels like that. And it moves at a weird pace. But this game between the Titans and Browns did not move at that pace. It was a really competitive game. And very odd though. There were a lot of changing of possessions. It wasn't a very clean game. The third quarter, I swear, must have had like 5 or 6 different possessions between the Titans and the Browns. They like punted. I don't know how many punts were in this game, but there were a lot of punts in this game. But it was a competitive football game. And it was a pretty good football game. And the Browns are coming. They got some good talent on that team. We'll get to who they drafted in a moment. But the point is, Sanders, all right, they lost the game. And remember, guys, this is a chess game. I think Stefanski won the chess game against the Titans because he allowed the Titans to win that game at the end. It was competitive all the way, and then in the end, he conceded in some way by doing a trick play just to tie the game up to tie the game up at 31, but it didn't work out because they did some trick play. Quishon Junkins, the running back, the rookie, got the ball, heaved the ball to try to I don't know what the hell happened. Got it, ran this way, threw it this way. It didn't work out. I think it's a chess match. It was the 1-11 Titans going against the 2-10 Browns at that point. The Browns, what do they gain by getting in the fifth, by getting 5 or 6 wins? I'm not advocating for teams to lose. That's number one. First of all, I'm not advocating for teams to lose. But, the Browns are in contention for a pretty good draft pick. And I just think that when Stefanski saw an opportunity to lose that game or to solidify the loss, and I think he took it. It was odd, but I think that's what it was. Because now the Browns are 3-10, and the only 2-11 teams are the Raiders, Giants, and Titans. And the Jets, Cardinals, Saints, and Commanders are also 3-10. There's a couple of really good wide receivers coming out the draft. Maybe that's what everyone's trying to vouch for. And I can see the Browns maybe picking one of them up. But that was fishy with the 2-point conversion. Both of them, the one that the Titans picked up and stopped running, and then the one that they decided to go with. But I kind of understood. It kind of became clear. I think they did that on purpose to put themselves still within the hunt to get a top 5 draft pick. That's my theory. That's the game plan behind Stefanski's decision not to put out Sanders and to put this crazy trick play there at the in the 2-point conversion. But yeah, those are his stats. I mean, listen, this guy is a talented quarterback. I think there's a bright future for this kid. And the Browns, this is their draft. Mason Graham was drafted fifth overall. They have Carson Schwessinger, the linebacker, 2nd-round pick. Quinshon Judkins, 2nd-round pick. These guys are drafted 33rd and 36th overall, Schwessinger and Judkins. Harold Fannin Jr., bright spot, leads the team in receiving yards at tight end. He was drafted 3rd round. Dylan Gabriel was drafted 3rd round, 94th overall, the other quarterback. Dylan Sampson, a very shifty running back, scat back. He was drafted 4th round. And Shedeur Sanders was drafted 5th round. One of the best draft picks probably in team history. Let's go out and say it, the Browns had in 2025, right? They're really building something. Quinshon Judkins reminds me of Kareem Hunt, a younger Kareem Hunt. The way he runs the ball, the way he attacks the outside, and just his running style reminds me of Kareem Hunt. So that's a hell of a comparison, right? At least early Kareem Hunt. I'm not saying he's not the same now, but his numbers, yards per carry, aren't the greatest. Point is, he looks like Kareem Hunt. And Harold Fannin Jr. looks like a more athletic or pretty similar David Njoku. So their other tight end. The Browns are building something. And I don't see why this kid can't be a starter with them. I see that Deshaun Watson, or at least starting NFL, Deshaun Watson, they did pay him a lot of guaranteed money. I hope he does come back. And I hate to see careers fall or not be complete because of some bull crap that happens. I hope that, everything's cleared in the air. I know he got hurt and he'll come back. That's what they say. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't, but weird stuff started happening. Point is, he's owed a lot of money, guaranteed money. What are they going to do? Are the Browns going to trade him maybe to the Jets? Is he going to be traded somewhere? Because he only has a couple more years left in that deal. But Shedeur Sanders is a player, is a playmaker. And I think he's somebody that is going to be fine in the NFL. I don't see what they're talking about. He made some throws, and he did not turn the ball over. And this is a guy who doesn't turn the ball over. He didn't turn the ball over in college. He had 2 games in college where he had 2 picks. He had no game in college where I don't think he had a game in college where he had more interceptions than touchdowns thrown in any game. So he's a guy that's going to make plays. He's going to throw touchdown passes. He's going to complete the ball. All right, he hasn't done too hot yet in the NFL, but give it time. 4 games, give it time. 3 starts, 4 games. And don't be surprised. The Browns lost this game, and I guarantee you the Browns are going, I don't know if it happens today. Right now it's 1:33 p.m. They're playing the Bears. I guarantee you the Browns are going to get a win within the next 4 weeks. They're going to beat a team that people say they weren't supposed to. They're going to beat a team as the underdog. They're going to beat a team that is better than them. They're going to beat it, or on paper, they're going to beat a team with a good record. I have a feeling the Browns are going to have a surprise win within the next 4 games. Going to happen today? Can it be a trap game where they go and they beat the Bears, who are 9-4? I'm just saying. But it makes sense, too, why the Browns, I want to briefly talk about it, why the Browns, I wanted to talk about this a while back. The Browns went with Gabriel before they went with Sanders is because they wanted to go with more of a safer selection. And I mean that in the sense of like the order of operations. Flacco starts, the veteran, he shows the rookie how it's done. They weren't winning, fine. He gets traded to Cincinnati. Okay. Then here comes Dylan Gabriel, the 3rd round pick. He's not a guy that is going to really be a downfield thrower. He's not a very big guy. He doesn't have a really good arm, but he's a safer play. I saw a lot of intermediate safe throws with him. That's what I saw. But not a lot of pizzazz, not a lot of oomph, right? So then that wasn't working. It didn't increase the running game. They didn't win many games. I don't think they won a game with him. And there wasn't much production there. So now you go and you get a nice trial run of Sanders. I'm telling you, I wish I would have done this video because I really sensed that that was what the reasoning was behind it. Now here comes Shedeur Sanders. They're going to allow him to do his thing, and he's going to play, I think, well, and I think that you're going to get a lot more playmaking down the field. I mean, look what he just did, 364 yards passing. The more comfortable he gets, the better he's going to get, and you're going to see the Browns become a more offensive team with him behind center. I'm telling you, the Browns are coming. They got some good players. They're one of the best drafts that they've had. Now, that's what I thought as the reason why Sanders was relegated to like a reserve role to begin with. Is it not a blessing in disguise for him to become 5th round? Everybody thought he was going to be first round pick. Everybody thought he might have been the first overall. Vegas made a ton of money on the prospect of him becoming a first overall pick. Abdul Carter, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, and Cam Ward. Those 4 I kept seeing cycling between who will be the first overall pick. You can bet on that, right? You can bet on that leading up to it, the months leading up to it. And I bet you they made a ton of money on Sanders on the idea of him being the first overall pick. He goes 5th round. It's odd, right? The star power of Sanders is in an underdog role. That's a dangerous formation of scenarios. Underdog role and the star power and the bloodline and the DNA and the pedigree of his father and what he's inherited. This is a dangerous role, okay? You might just have to accept it, people. This kid is going to be all right. So that's my talk. I always say I'm going to come on here and do 12 minutes. It doesn't happen. We're now at 22 minutes. I'm done. It's over. Thanks for listening. We'll see what happens today. You take care. This is the YouTube Sports Network.